lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Matt Williams got a brilliant start from the third row of the grid.
He's gone, he's hit him, he's straight off at the chase.
A half-second lead on with the simmering car in the background.
He has, oh, he's round on the last lap.
There's a massive accident.
Next to the inside, what a move, what a move.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Wednesday night in beautiful Melbourne, or coming from beautiful Melbourne, for round 6 of the ATCC Championship here on Automobilista Australia, from Michael Zalavari's hometown, Adelaide. And I'm Chris Riddell. Good evening, and thanks for coming along to watch this evening. Michael, how you doing, mate? That's probably the worst intro I've ever done.
Well, coming from beautiful Melbourne, that's lies, slander and lies. We're coming from beautiful Adelaide. I'm doing very well, Chris, and it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Hand you back the reins now after doing the stream last week. But yes, we're in my hometown, which is very exciting because I think these cars at this track are a very beautiful recipe for destruction. Yes. Basically, it's going to be a great night of racing.
Yes, the track you're talking about, obviously the Adelaide Street Circuit, not the one that everyone may know, from 1988.
Yeah, so we're going back in time, rolling back the clock. Unfortunately, from the research that you and I have done, it doesn't appear that Group A ever actually raced at the Adelaide Street Circuit. I think when they came to Adelaide... Oh, hello. Bro.
Hello.
How are you, mate? Group A raced was as part of the Grand Prix support.
There we go.
Was
that a championship event or a non-championship event? Because it doesn't appear to come up in the championship.
No, in 88, 89, they only had, I think it was eight or 9 rounds as a championship. Bathurst wasn't even part of the championship back then.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. They raced support. Yeah. Larry Perkins won a couple of them in a Walkinshaw. Apart from that, it was a bit of Sierra Fest, so yeah.
Well, there you go. Thank you for that information. Of course, I wasn't around there to watch the touring cars go around. I think 88, is that before your time, Chris, or is that just when
I
you
was
were
1 year old.
1 year old.
So
okay.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of Adelaide, the old version.
Fun fact, I'm going to take over the broadcast here. I was at this race in 88 as an 8-year-old, and then again in 89 as a 9-year-old when it rained very heavily.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the characteristics of these cars around this track. Because I assume one of the reasons that you chose this circuit was because seeing it in the flesh is certainly something that would stick with you, right? And make you want to relive that.
Yeah, it's actually really funny. I was in 88, I was there, and seeing Brocky in a BMW made me cry. And then,
Wait, he drove a Beamer?
Yeah, in the BMW M3 in 88, and then in 89, seeing him in a Ford made me want to break stuff. So, but no, the cars that very bouncy around here. It's going to be pretty easy to flip them over on the curbs. So we got to be careful on the curbs, which is pretty much true to life. I actually watched a video of this recently. I think it was 89, and Alan Jones was saying that they want to tip over a lot around here. So it's nice that we got that. The track is a little bit thin for this type of car, but we'll give it a go.
What's the worst that can happen?
I can certainly confirm Brock's announcements of the curbs wanting to flip over the cars, because I had a few incidents running laps earlier tonight in practice where I almost ended up on my roof around some of the nice corners through East Terrace through the S's. So that's going to be certainly something to keep an eye on. And another thing we're going to keep an eye on tonight is track cuts. Because of the nature of the circuit, there is a lot of opportunities to take a little too much curb and get hit with a track cut violation, especially through the first chicane and around the back end of the circuit through the S's and turn 10, I think it is.
Yep. And what about 5, 6, 7 as well?
5, 6, 7 maybe a bit less so.
Okay.
You can really slam that inside corner over the curb, but certainly once you get through the fast S's and the sweeper with the very deep curb there, not really the sweeper back in those days. It was more of a kink, a really sharp kink. those corners especially going to be the ones to watch for track limit violations, and that's definitely going to be in people's minds throughout the evening, especially Will Devonish, who is currently sitting in 16th place, a few seconds away from the lead at this stage of practice.
Yes, and that's our championship leader. And it's a good segue because we're at the halfway point. This track
Already?
is around 6 to 12. This is a concrete canyon. And after the events of 2 weeks ago where things got a bit heated on track and off, it's going to get very interesting to see how things go tonight. And the championship currently, 3 points in it.
It's extremely tight at the top of the championship, and I think of all the circuits, this one might favour the HSV a bit more. It's got a little bit of everything in terms of high speed, low speed, and cornering, but it's certainly a little more open, a little more advantage to the top of the rev range, because you're really sitting at the top of the rev range in a lot of the corners here, and that's where the HSV has been strong. And if we have a look at the practice times so far, it is Brenton Hobson on top with a 35.6, and then Brock Harvey is the only Commodore in a HSV sandwich at the top. But in terms of the drivers' points at the moment, we did make mention Will Devonish currently leads the championship. Scott Nolan and Brenton Hobson, two Synergy Sim Racing HSVs in second and third. Lion Mitch, not too far away in fourth place. Then we got Hans Brunswick, the first of the Volvos, and Steve Bolger very close on points. And Damien Rasmussen, another Synergy Sim Racing HSV. Michael McDonald, which is Cracker, in 8th place. And then Brock Harvey and Wayne Spencer. So with Brock's pace tonight, he might be looking to try and gain a few more positions, especially in that tight mid-pack area there.
Now, I was going to switch to some final practice session, but I've just been kicked out of the server.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, okay. Server may have slightly died, but you love this place, don't you? I know the modern day version you've been to a number of times, obviously, and marshalled that. What?
Go ahead, sorry.
What do you think is your favourite part of the circuit?
See, I don't really know. I can't really point to like a favorite part of the circuit like I can at other circuits. Like because to me this is like my home track. It's literally the city that I've lived in my entire life, and so it's very hard for me to really pick something that's different and special. But I think if I had to choose, like, gun to my head, I'd say turn 4, that run up Wakefield Street coming out of the chicane, uphill, very bumpy, very difficult braking zone. That's a really cool corner. And then everyone, of course, talks on the modern circuit about turn 8 and turn 9, which isn't a feature of this older circuit, but I actually really quite like the fast S's and the turn onto Rundle Street, Rundle Road, in this version of the circuit, which is right in front of the old fruit and veg market. So that's a very iconic building there on the left-hand side coming out of the fast S's. And I really like that section of track, and it is a bit of a shame that doesn't exist in the modern circuit. But I still really quite like it. And for these cars, it actually throws up quite a challenge.
Yes, and we're so looking forward to it.
Are you able to find the server again, or
No, I'm
is
not.
it just? Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Brock.
Brock?
Oh no, Brock's gone. So no one knows what's happening at the moment. We are trying to find our way into the server before practice concludes.
Yep. This might be a good chance to just take a quick break and sort out what's going on.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
We'll be right back. And we are back. Technical issues being solved.
Yes, a little adventure for the two of us, but we're all good now, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yep, just getting going now. So, drivers briefing, they were just talking about track limits. Nothing too unusual. Also, I was noticing that there's been a lot of discussion online about moving under brakes and just being more sensible when it comes to defending your position.
Yep, and that's definitely come out of the difficulties. Well, not really difficulties, the battling at the front of last week. For those who were there last fortnight, when we were at Barbagallo, there was a situation at the front of the field, the battle between Scott Nolan and Will Devonish, where there was a few instances of maybe some willing defending or some over-exuberant defending. So they've just clarified the ruling on what constitutes moving under brakes and what is allowed in terms of that, because of the different lines that Will and Nolan were taking in their different machinery. Because of course, one of the problems is with having all these different types of machinery that are actually balanced differently is that they make their pace in different ways and therefore take sometimes different lines into corners to maintain that pace. And so there was a bit of a back and forth after the race of questioning whether or not moves were legitimate versus whether that was the driving style required to make pace. So it was all a very heated discussion, we'll call that. But there's been some further clarification from that. So hopefully we won't encounter that issue once again.
Excellent. The game just shut down on me, so I'm getting back into the server again.
Beautiful. While you boot that back in, I will say though, it is a little. It's certainly interesting in my experience that we have such a heated battle at the front for the championship, and also a little bit of tension in the drivers as well. Normally, at least for the sim racing I've been involved with, everyone's kind of friends, right? You're all buddy with each other. You know, you're in it to have a good time, and it doesn't really matter at the end of the day if things get heated, because you just kind of, don't think about it and move on to other things. But really, there is a bit of maybe a little bit of a divide starting to come about between the Synergy Sim Racing guys and some of the other people in the field. Not sure, like, if I'm just looking into things a bit too much, but there does seem to be a little bit of tension, which adds another dimension to the top of the championship battle, especially as we get beyond the halfway point tonight.
Promises to be a great night, a great weekend. So just a weekend race, 50 minutes around here.
Okay, how many side mirrors? If you're a side mirror vendor in Adelaide at the moment, how many side mirrors would you be preparing for tonight's action?
How many drivers have we got in the race?
At the moment, it looks like a server of 23.
So 46.
46, 2 for each. That's fine.
Yep.
Actually, I have a funny story to share. This is unrelated to ATCC, but is related to some supercars stories. So I have a friend who used to work as a contractor for one of the teams, and he told me the story of when they first went to Sydney Olympic Park for the street race at Sydney Olympic Park.
Oh God.
Yeah. So the roaring success that was. Now, because of the nature of Sydney Olympic Park, of course, they packed a bunch of extra side mirrors. Of course. They said, okay, it's 30% extra, and we'll, add another 10% to that because it's a street circuit that no one's encountered before. By the end of Saturday, they had run out of all of the side mirrors that they had in stock. All of them. Every single Holden Commodore up and down the field had run out of side mirrors. So what they ended up doing was they had hire cars, right? Hire cars provided by Holden.
Oh no.
And because Holden couldn't get them new side mirrors until after the race on Sunday, what they did was they pulled the side mirrors off of their hire cars to run in the race, and then use the new ones to replace the hire car side mirrors, because they just run out. They just completely not seen how much they'd needed. So there you go. There's a little story for you guys.
What on earth? That's the glamorous side of this industry you don't see.
Absolutely right, and it's one of those, it's just the beautiful side of motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like we have someone doing donuts in the pit lane at the moment. Yes, that is a Petter Suraj, a good friend who is definitely not pretending to be someone else. Not at all.
Not at all. I think he just got booted.
No, they've just ticked over to
qualifying.
10-minute qualifying session, of course.
Indeed. Just waiting for the cars to slowly file out. Who's at the top of the queue? Hobbo. Do you want to jump on board for Hobbo on his outlet?
Sure. Maybe we'll jump on board for Hobbo on his outlap and we'll see what he is able to do. We'll have a look at Adelaide back in 1988.
Sounds good to me. Just waiting for the green light at the end of pit lane.
And of course, because Kiwi's running the stream, the textures actually look properly good for the HSVs and for the Mercedes, not like mine, which are for some reason broken.
Yes, you were very ghosted.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. I don't know what the issue is. I still haven't sorted it out. But it's only these cars. It is only these cars that have that weird filter effect. I've tried everything, so let's go on board for Hobbo around the Adelaide Street Circuit.
Okay, so coming through to the centre chicane, taking a lot of curb through here, but not too much because, as you mentioned before, track cuts there are vital. Turn 3. Hobbo's really on it early.
I think due to the length of the lap as we break into turn 4 at the end of Wakefield Street and start the East Terrace S's, 10 minutes is not really long enough to have a decent stab at the at qualifying. It's not like, for example, Barbagallo, where you have a less than a minute lap. You can really take 2 or 3 goes at it if you get a chance. With a 1 minute and 40 second-ish lap, or 1 minute 35, you really don't have the luxury of dilly-dallying as we come in front of the fruit markets and on to Rundle Street, or Rundle Road, actually, as we head towards the Mitsubishi signage ahead of us. This is the kink on the back straight that takes you through to Bartels Road. And then this is the long version of the back straight. The one
where turn 8 normally joins in.
F1. Yep, so there is where Decatur Valderas joins in. And then we head into turn 9, Britannia roundabout, a double roundabout, which for some reason actually quite works as a corner, as a traffic modifier or whatever. Back down Wakefield Street and then into the Parklands, the East Parklands here. Just nick that curb there on the left. And then this is all permanent racetrack, as you well know, the RAH just in the distance where David Coulthard had his was taken after his accident in the Formula 1, and then back onto the main straight. So here we go for the first flying lap of the session.
Excellent. And away we go. Oh, there he is. So this is going to be a fantastic. You can take a lot more speed through that new chicane, the old chicane at the back. So I've seen how far they push it, because those curbs there are brutal.
Yeah, and as we're watching Hobbo operate, you can see that he used a lot of curb at turn 1, but avoiding the curbs in the S's here, they really unsettle you through this section there, especially that last one that Hobbo's just passed. Uses a nice amount of exit there to get a great run through the fast S's. Now here's a section where you can get pinged for track limits, but Hobbo does a very nice job, and it's a 30.7 to the first sector. Of course, that is the fastest time so far, because it's the only time so far. But this is where you start to really wind the pace on. Just braking before the 50 board, using the curb on the outside to mark the car, and then running over the exit curb very nicely for Hobbo.
Not nicely with my match at the back. He got up on 2 wheels.
Hobbo's still the fastest car to the first sector. No one else has gotten under the 31s yet. So a very nice starting lap for Hobbo. It's a 102.6 to the braking zone of the hairpin there, and now back onto the permanent racetrack. 31.8 is the second sector time, and again, no one else is really close. So this could be a very impressive benchmark for Hobbo to lay down the gauntlet for the rest of the field.
As we see Hobbo coming through the final corner at Victoria Park. Beautiful, nailed that corner as well. This is going to be a very quick lap time. I think this could be close to pole. 136.6 right off the bat, bang.
So that's a second away from what he was able to achieve in qualifying, in practice rather. That's still a very impressive lap time to lay the marker down for the rest of the field. The next closest to him so far is going to be Hans, but I reckon I would keep eye on Scott Nolan, who's just slotted a lap time in, 2.5 tenths further back. So that's the Synergy Sim Racing guys 1 and 2 for the moment. I'm trying to have a quick look to see who else is on a quick lap. And so far, it doesn't seem like anyone else is quite in the ballpark at the moment.
Hans is on it again. He's 5 tenths up in his personal best through the first sector, 200ths down on Hobbo.
And Ozrob as well is up 7 tenths on his PB and 1 tenth up on Hobbo.
We're just going to keep an eye on Hans coming through the kink at the back, two-wheeling it, but have that nicely. The Volvo seems to like the curbs. It's a few times now he's been right up on two wheels, as we see Brock Harvey going into third with a 2 tenths down.
And Scott Nolan has just had an accident coming onto the back straight, so he's lost his chance for this lap.
Hans almost a second up on his PB, now 2 tenths off the lead of pole.
As is Ozrob, who's just behind Mike Coulston.
Ooh, Hans has just thrown it away at coming into Victoria Park, that horrible turn 12.
Unfortunate for the Volvo. We'll jump down to 4th place to watch Ozrob. He's got Mike Coulston just ahead of him, but he's doing very well at the moment on this lap, trailing the BMW into the final sector.
Had to miss the apex a bit, though, to avoid going into the back of Mike Coulston, who's not doing anything wrong. He's just catching him.
It's a difficult thing. So a second up on his PB, and he's jumped into 2nd place, just 2 tenths behind Hobbo, who I think didn't quite set a better lap. Got very close, but didn't quite do it.
Yeah, we have a yellow
I've just
flag.
been corrected.
Yep.
Sorry, I've just been corrected in chat. It was Mika Hakkinen, not David Coulthard, who ended up in the hospital at Adelaide.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm not getting the live chat for some reason on my end.
Oh, interesting. There seems to be some flickering on the live stream as well that's been reported, so I'll let you investigate that while I watch the lap times.
Okay, I'm just keeping an eye on things now. What is going on there? I have no idea what that is.
Typical ATCC production, am I right?
Yeah, let me...
You're not lying on the replay button, are you?
That would be annoying if I was. Hang on. Let me investigate.
Okay, while Kiwi's doing that, Hobbo has set a brand new fastest time of 36.3 to go 3 tenths ahead. Sorry, it was Brock Harvey who's now set that time, but Hobbo is about to eclipse it looks like, as he's coming through the final sector with 2 purple sectors to his name. Just coming onto the main straight now.
Yeah, I can hear the flickering. I'm trying to figure out what the hell that is.
And Hobbo goes 35.5. It does look like the start of the replay buffer, so yeah, I'm not sure what that is, but we might have to quickly take down the stream and restart it just before the race.
Yep. I'm gonna try something here.
Okay. Fingers crossed that no one ends up in the bin.
Well, I've deleted the replay thing, so if it doesn't work now.
Wood Evanish has jumped up into 2nd place.
Okay, we're going to turn this into a radio show for a minute.
Okay, I will keep everyone abreast of what's happening in qualifying while Kiwi sorts out the stream. Don't you just love our ATCC production quality, ladies and gentlemen? Feels like we're back in the 80s, doesn't it?
Yep, you keep doing it. 2.5 minutes to go.
Okay, at the moment, Hobson is the only one in the 35s, but Devonish is trying to change that. He's 4 tenths up on his PB to the first sector, which would put him still 2 tenths behind Brenton Hobson. And Brock Harvey and Ozrob is your top 4 at the moment. Devonish very smooth through the sweeper that brings you onto the back straight. Getting his 2nd sector time for him in just a moment, and it's a 101.8, so that would put him again just behind Hobson, but we've had Scott Nolan jump into 2nd place, a 35.666, so he's just a 10th behind his teammate. I've still got eyes on Devonish and see if anyone else has got a good time at the moment. Wayne Spencer might improve, but Devonish coming through the final corner now, as we've got a 1.5 minutes left on the clock in this qualifying session. Hans actually jumps up to 6th place with a 37.2, and Devonish goes to the top, 35.2 for Will Devonish, much quicker in the final sector than his competitors, half a second quicker. So that Mercedes really turning the corners very nicely in the final sector. So we'll see if Hobbo or Scott Nolan has anything to respond with, or Brock Harvey for that matter. Cam Rutledge and Cracker are about to cross the line to complete their first timed laps. And Rutledge goes into 11th, and then Cracker immediately eclipses him for that position. He goes into 9th. So everyone should be on their final laps at the moment. So we'll see if we can catch them coming across the line. So Mike Coulston will come across the line. Then it will be Brendan Ross as he improved not that time around. Matt Cecil does not improve. Oh, he does improve to 19th. There's Brock Harvey. He got a track cut, so he didn't improve. Then Rasmussen and Nolan, neither of them improving on their time. Rhodey's about to come across the line, and he doesn't improve either. Brenton Hobson to come across the line. He does a purple first sector and does improve. So he's now the top of the timesheets at 35.25. So 19 thousandths of a second separating Hobbo and Devonish. And Devonish has come to the pit. So no more improvement from Devonish. And the time has elapsed. So that's going to be everyone's final lap. Scott Murrell coming across the line. Let's have a quick look at his sector. He got a track cut on that lap, so he's not going to improve, unfortunately, for Murrell. Lime Mitch across the line. He had a purple middle sector. Let's see how he goes. And it's up to 5th for Lime Mitch. Cracker has just... Not Cracker, sorry. Cam Rutledge has spun it. No, it was Cracker. Spun it onto the main straight. Luke Joyner is going to be the next one to cross the line. He's currently 16th. Decent sector times. Does he jump up? He does, up to 8th. And then Dane Liccardo will come across the line next. He got a track cut, so he hasn't improved. It'll be Matt Cecil coming across the line next. And then Brock Harvey and Nolan. So this is the important stuff at the top of the field. Harvey does not improve, Nolan does not improve, and Rasmussen jumps up to 6th. So there is the final group of cars. No, it's not. Brenton Hobson's going to come across the line, already with pole position, purple first sector, personal best second sector, and does he improve on his final lap? No, he doesn't, but he still takes pole position. A 1:35.250 for Brenton Hobson.
What on earth was that?
What on earth was that? 250 is pole position ahead of Will Devonish, Scott Nolan, Brock Harvey, and Lime Mitch is your top 5.
All right.
So Kiwi, did we sort out our technical gremlins?
No, I'm going to do a restart of the streaming software in a moment and see if that fixes anything.
Okay. So we should see you guys hopefully back for the race. We'll chuck the link up in this chat and on the Facebook group as well. So we'll see you very shortly.
I'm hoping that if I do this right, it won't actually stop the stream.
Okay, well maybe it won't stop the stream.
Fingers crossed. Please hold.
Fingers, arms, legs, toes, and eyes.
Please hold. Hopefully we're back. Can someone just check on the stream and see if it's still live?
Yes,
Yeah.
It works. It works. We're back. We did it.
All right.
Okay. Now the next question is, do we have that flicker?
I'm going to go transition to the warm-up now. Is there someone on track we can hopefully follow? We
There
have
is
the
Pedro Suraj
we have
in
the
the
flicker still.
non-bow Sierra.
We have the flicker still.
We do have the flicker. Oh, that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, the flicker did come back quite significantly. All right. Trying something else. Back in a moment. And we're back in audio at least. We're still trying to fix our streaming issues. In the meantime, Michael,
Yes.
what's going on?
What is going on? So we're still in the warm-up session now. Just a few drivers taking the opportunity to run a few extra laps, work on the pit entry and exit, of course. Pit entry here, of course, is very, very difficult with the little Duke out of that little kink and then the hairpin. Of course, you don't want to be an embarrassment and contact the wall on the pit entry. So a few drivers are making sure that they get that all sorted. We do have just a quick little update from Brock on the future of the series. There will be another little update on some tyres for the next round. I think the Sierra and I've already forgotten the other car.
Beamer?
Which one is it, Brock? The Skyline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're getting a little longevity increase. So hopefully they'll be a little more competitive at some of the more twisty rounds, which will be music to the ears of the Sierra and the Skyline runners. At the moment, everyone's just kind of in a little bit of a holding pattern. Not too much is going on. What I am fascinated by, though, is, well, as Lime Mitch decides to vault the curb into pit lane, is the potential lap counter and how this race is going to be split up. Because with a 1 minute 35, we'll call it a 1 minute 36 lap, so that's 96 seconds, right?
Yeah.
That goes not quite nicely into the 50-minute time frame. So it might be somewhere around 33-ish laps, I think, just off the top of my head, which isn't a nice even number to sort of split into two or however many stints. So we might have to see how people deal with that. We saw Hobbo not last week at Bukakoi be forced into an earlier stop, which played very poorly for him in the end. Last week, on the other hand, worked out a bit nicer. So at least at this track, you'll have a bit more space to drop into as opposed to Barbagallo. So maybe expect some people to be less confined by what's going on track as we get ready for the race session. Now, how are we going on the streaming front?
Horribly. I just can't
Horribly?
seem to get this fixed.
Okie dokie.
Have a good call, guys. I'm going to bow.
All right.
Good luck. Good luck, Brock.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, Michael, can you activate emergency stream on your end, or is that I can ask too much?
Oh, let's see what I can do. We may be able to do it. Let's have a go.
All right.
Okay, please hold. If this doesn't work, we'll do a replay during the week.
Yeah.
So hopefully we should be back on my end.
YouTube's just doing something. I'm going to check it.
Okay, are we back? We're back. Oh,
Are we
brilliant.
back?
Okay,
we
so
back?
we're going to have to deal with my crappy textures and not all that much preparation. Hopefully the frames are okay and there's not that much stuttering.
You might want to drop it down a bit.
I will close literally everything else on my computer because having the stream up on another window probably isn't great. So hopefully everything works out nicely. Okay, so let's go quickly through the grid. We have Brenton Hobson on pole, Will Devonish second place, Scott Nolan in third, Brock Harvey fourth, Lime Mitch fifth, Damien Rasmussen in sixth, Brendan Ross in seventh, then Osrod. Luke Joyner starting from the pits, it appears. Not Hans Brunswick, he's in 11th. Wayne Spencer in 10th. There's Hans. Cracker in 12th. Adam Kerrison in 13th. Cam Rutledge 14th. Peter Siraj in 15th. Termo 16th. Mike Coulston 17th. Rhodey in 18th. Matt Cecil in 19th. Scott Murrell 20th. Dane Liccardo 21st. Brian Walsh 22nd. Manuel Santino 23rd. So there is your field. I'm going to continue playing with these settings, so hopefully we get something a bit less terrible.
Yep. If this isn't any good, we'll do something with the replay, even if we do a highlights version or something during the week.
Fingers, arms, legs, toes, and eyes crossed.
Yep.
The minute.
Just looking at. Yep. If you can try and make the a bit less choppy, that'd be awesome. But we're just looking at the grid. Cars coming onto the front straight now, gridding up. A few cars pointed at jointy angles there. We've got the Mercedes of Brendan Ross pointing a long way to the inside of the track as we get ready to get the green lights.
Here we go, 50 minutes in Adelaide, ready to go. It's Brenton Hobson versus Will Devenish on the front row, and it's Hobbo who gets a great start, but Nolan gets even a better one, and Devenish is the one who gets the best start of all as we go through the first corner. And Devenish is going to lead the 3 Synergy Sim racing cars away at the head of the field as the rest of the field files through. But Hobson takes it back immediately through Wakefield Street and goes to the lead.
Just coming through the staircase now, Lion Mitch has also had a look down the inside of the third of those Synergy Sim cars of Damien and Rasmussen. Further back, looks like we've been pretty clean. No one's had a massive incident. We've all survived. And Luke John is just leading the pits now.
So it is Hobbo from Devenish, from Scott Nolan as your first 3. Rasmussen did a great job at the start to jump up 2 positions to 6th. And then it's Lime Mitch in 5th place and Brock Harvey down 2 from the start in 6th. I'm aware that there's still a little bit of stuttering. I'm trying to sort that out on my end.
Is Automobilista the active window as we see a Lime Mitch trying to make it too wide down the back straight into turn 9, having the inside for the hairpin.
That was actually my problem, so thank you very much for that.
Let's try that, see if that makes it any better. Lime Mitch can't get past Damien Rasmussen. He got held up by Scotty Nolan playing the team game there. As Lime Mitch a bit of bump and barge coming through onto the race course. Rasmussen still holds that position in 4th place. As we come around, Brendan Hobson just coming through where Greg Murphy had a massive shunt in V8 qualifying around the final corner. And away we do, lap number 1. So lap number 1 we'll see Hobson from Devenish, Nolan, Rasmussen, Synergy 2, 3, 4, Lime Mitch, Brendan Ross, Brock Harvey, Wazza, Oz Robin, Brunswick rounding out your 10.
And the top 2 have stepped away just a little bit from the rest of the field at the moment. There is the next 2 cars, Nolan and Rasmussen, and then you can see the pack behind. Rasmussen, big dive down the inside at Wakefield Street and just manages to not clean up his teammate, and Nolan takes the position back again to head through the staircase. Very willing battle between these 2 at the minute. Remember, Nolan has been generally the fastest of the Synergy Sim racing cars this season so far, as Rasmussen gets very much on 2 wheels there, whereas Rasmussen hasn't quite had the pace or consistency to really stick it at the front, but he's looking very good at the moment in the early stages of this race.
Well, I've just gone back to Peter Siraj, aka Lewis Wedding, who's crashed, and there's been a big pile up behind him as well. We've got Turmo involved, Matt Cecil involved, and Adam Kerrison just got away with it.
So let's have a quick look on the replay, see if we can catch up to that. Peter Siraj, big slide out of the corner there, made contact with the inside wall and then bounced back onto the track, and then Turmo seemed to go around in sympathy, and he's dropped down the field. So we'll jump back up to live action now, and there is the Peter Siraj Sierra, and he seems to have recovered from that one well. We'll head back up to the head of the field.
As we have Devenish and Hobbo going too wide, and Devenish is actually on the wrong side of the track. Hobbo is actually going to get past him into turn 1. Little bit of bump, gets it done. Great move by Hobbo.
Now, was Devenish ahead coming out of the final corner?
He was.
Okie dokie. So well done by Hobbo to get that position back. What we'll do is see if we can jump on board with Will Devenish through the staircase here. We're going to go that one. There we are. A little bit of curve there, and that's really unsettled the car.
Yeah. Do you want to just try hitting enter on your screen?
Oh, yes, that'll help.
Yeah, if that helps it as well.
The joys of live streaming on an emergency.
Yeah. Hey, if it was 3 weeks ago, you wouldn't have been able to do this at all.
This is true. And I'll do that as well, so we get rid of some of the names. Great run from Devenish through there. Awful run from Hobbo. Let's see if he's able to hold on into the hairpin. That Mercedes should be a little nimbler as we approach the braking zone just ahead of the 150 board. There goes the anchors. And it's going to be Will Devonish again. Gets the move done, but can he get the power down as we head off of Wakefield Street into the permanent racecourse? And he does. So Devonish back ahead of Hobson in the early stages of the race.
That's your classic Adelaide move.
Absolutely right. Very well done from Devonish. Got a great run out of the corner and then managed to make the most of the opportunity. But Hobbo hasn't quite given up yet. And they go down the main straight for the start of lap 3.
Just looking further back, Rhodey's currently running in 13th place after what you said was a really good time in qualifying. And he's now harassing Scotty Murrell for 12th.
We'll jump down to that and have a look at how Rhodey and Murrell are doing. Both of them are up quite a fair way. Murrell up 8 places from the start and Rhodey up 5. You can see the Nissan much better through the chicane there than the Sierra. And Murrell ekes out just a little bit of a gap. He should extend this gap through the S's. We get this nice cool shot from what is now, or what is turn 5 in this circuit.
As we heard from Mr. Harvey before, the Sierras did run away with this race in real life. Don't know if it's translating quite so much to the virtual world at the moment. We've got obviously the Holdens and the Merc up front. Seeing all the cars, for the moment, seeing all the cars bounce over the turn 7 curve there.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, especially through here as well. So we'll watch this battle between Murrell and Rhodey because that Sierra should really range onto the back of the Nissan down this longer back straight, and you can see Rhodey pull towards the inside with the power of the Sierra on the brakes, and he's going to take that position. Oh, unless Murrell cuts back at the apex and gets it back. Well done.
Great racing.
Battling. We're just going to leave this and go back to the head of the field because this battle at the front, it seemed to have spread out a bit. It looked like it was coming down pretty tight, and Hobbo sets the fastest lap, and then it's immediately eclipsed by Nolan. But it looked like for a second there that Hobbo was going to make a move on Devonish for the lead.
Just for a moment, as I try to get my live timing up, seeing I'm not streaming this, I can actually have live timing up. Why
Read
not?
my mind.
Yeah. It is. So Hobbo just hit the fastest lap of the race last lap as well, so he's actually pushing really hard. One stop this race, you think?
Should be, yeah. I don't expect this to be too difficult on tyres because it's not a overtly curvy place. Not like, for example, Barbagallo or even Pukekohe wasn't that curvy and worrisome for the tyres. But it's certainly no winter.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you there. Damien Rasmussen's just gone well wide at 5 and actually clipped the inside wall down a 360 and has dropped 1 position.
Let's have a quick look at that one then. There's that button. So we'll have a quick look for Rasmussen as he comes onto the far section of the track. Oh, just nicked the wall there, and Brock did a very, very good job to avoid that accident there, as you saw a few cars make full use of the curb afterwards. Oh, I missed those buttons up, so that's fine.
That's fine, it happens. It happens to the best of us.
So Brock now into 4th, he's recovered to where he started. Rasmussen still has 5th place, and then it's Lime Mitch in 6th, but he's dropped down quite a few places.
He's dropped down to 14th.
What's happened to Lime Mitch?
He's dropped down behind Rhodey now.
Let's see if we can catch what's happened to Lime Mitch. And we'll just scroll it back a little bit. Because there seems to be a little bit of damage on his car. I don't think we can quite catch it unless it's happened just here. And there we go. No, he's just run wide there. So we'll see if it'll remain a mystery what happened to Mitch.
We'll have to ask him. I couldn't get the replay up either, unfortunately. Oh, I can try actually. Hang on. I've got the power to do that now.
You have, and we just saw Mitch make a great move around the outside of turn 4 to get back into 13th place, but he's got a ways to go to get back to where he started the race. This is a willing battle pack now, headed up by Brendan Ross and Hans Brunswick, who come down from turn 9, and there's side-by-side action, a little bit of attack there from Hans, and they're still going side-by-side in the exit there. We'll see if we can catch back up. We go on board with Brendan Ross. You can see in the mirror there Ozrob as well, who pulls to the inside. And Ozrob's just going to breeze past. It's come to the braking zone. It's going to go 3 wide into the hairpin there. Ozrob, he's gained 2 positions in the space of 1 lap. Well done.
Well done.
Well
done, Ozrob.
Rather.
That was great. Just set him up perfectly and took a full advantage.
And it was a very opportunistic move there. You saw that both Ross and Hans got a bit of trouble coming out of that little kink onto the back straight. And yeah, rounded both of them up. Lickety-split.
Yep. You want to answer on what Lime Mitch did?
Let's hear it.
So he came in through the staircase, he looped it, found himself pulling the wrong way, had to do a 3-point turn to get out of it, out of turn 4, and shipped all those places to 14th.
Oh no, what a shame for Mitch there.
That's a real shame. Took me long to figure out those controls, but yeah, that's a real shame. It was only real pacey early.
Yeah, it was quite pacey from Lime Mitch. He did have a bad start, but we've expected a little bit more. I'm not sure how to put it. We expect him to be up at the head of the field a bit longer, a bit more nowadays than maybe when we first joined AMS Oz. So it's a bit of a shame to see him make a mistake there.
That it is. Up the front now, just looking at the gaps now, 0.8 of a second.
It's not too far. It's not too far.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit of space there as we just watch everyone come down the back straight. And that's the end of the top 10 there. Quite a fair gap back to Cam Rutledge. But yeah, they've just let off the pace just a little bit at the front. Maybe thinking a bit more about tyres and about longevity. Because remember, we've only just crossed 10 minutes into the race, so there's still quite a ways left to go.
There is. There we go.
And
Devonish
as we say that,
lap.
though, Will Devonish, fastest lap of the race, 35.3, so right up close to what he was doing in qualifying. So maybe he's not. There's not a sense of conservation. Maybe Devonish is just trying to stretch away while he can.
Quite possibly. I'm just having a quick at the stream just to check health of it. Sorry, I was slightly distracted. Everyone's sort of spread out now. I guess the question is now, when do you make your stop? You split it up evenly?
I think if you have the choice, you want to make it as even as possible, right? You want to make sure that you've got as good a chance of maximizing your tyre life as you possibly can, especially if you're at the head of the field. You want to play no risks. That would be my theory. Especially if this place isn't too bad on tyres. So the worst thing you could do is run a bit longer or run it a bit short and then find the tyres hit a cliff and you miss the punch. So if you can get past the halfway point, then I reckon that would be good enough to get through as we just watch Wayne Spencer and Hans Brunswick get up on 2 wheels heading down the back straight.
As they do, that curb's brutal. It's actually going to give Hans a bit of a run on Ozrob as well.
Not quite enough. Ozrob does a very good job to cover the Volvo as Rossi tries to dart around the outside. Not quite doing there for Rossi. And it's play on as you were. This is the closest battle on track in the top 10 at the moment, this battle pack of 4. Not too much movement outside of that. Actually, no, we've got Scott Murrell dropping down the order. Let's see if we can catch what happened to Scott.
Yeah, let's see. Where's he at now? 16th.
So we're just picking it up as he comes onto the back straight here, and he's just looped it on the exit and hit the wall. Very easy to do there. And unfortunately, as he does the flip J turn to try and rectify it. Where is it? There it goes. Well done, Scott. I'm proud of you.
I did notice at some point he had 4 wheels off the road over the curb. That just before the incident as well. That probably did not help.
No, not at all. So Morrow back down in 16th with Termo for company. And then just in the background there, that's Mike Coulston and Matt Cecil, who are engaged in a pretty willing battle as well.
Kristen in chat's asking for Hans to hands them up. Moving on.
This is a pretty good battle, though, for the tail end of the top 10. Ozrob and Hans are at it yet again. We'll go that way on Ozrob, looking back at Hans as we're coming down towards the breaker zone. Hans got a little bit of a run. There's a little bit of an overlap there. And, Ozrob's actually tipped it around. Not quite.
I think he actually intentionally took that wide line, trying to cut back in on the Hans Brunswick machine, and actually got balked.
Yeah, I think it was fine until he nicked the curb. He just got a wheel on the curb there, and that was enough to unsettle the Nissan, and that's allowed Hans back through up into 7th place. Now, we'd expect the longer wheelbase cars here, the Volvos, the HSVs, and the Nissans to have a little bit more stability over the curbs, but that was still a bit of a hairy moment for Ozrob going through that curb there, because they bound through turns 1 and 2.
Yes, this is the only battle on track at the moment. I'm just scrolling further down. Nice to see the Saudi Camel with us again tonight. Down in 18th place currently in that Texaco machine. He's got Matty Cecil right behind him. But that's probably the only other battle on track at the moment.
We'll have a quick look there to see how they're going. 18th and 19th position. The BMW, I had a quick run earlier. It becomes very unstable over the curves because it's got that shorter wheelbase, so it is a little more difficult to control compared to the Nissan. In fact, Mike does a very good job of getting through that first sector to eke out a little bit of a gap.
It looked like Matty Cecil was really early on the brakes. He's had a bit of a rough start as well. The car has got a massive dent in its roof. How's that happened?
The mysteries of the ATCC mod. What we'll do, while this is in a little bit of a lull, we'll just
jump... Sorry to interrupt. Scotty Morrow just had a massive two-wheel moment coming through the old chicane onto the back straight as well. How did he hold that?
It'll remain a mystery, as we've still got eyes on the battle for 7th, Hans and Ozrob. What we'll do is we'll jump on board the Hans machine for a lap and just watch how Hans goes about his business.
Yeah, it was good to me. Coming through turn 1 and 2 now. Beautiful use of the curb at 1. Full beans through 3. Brake it just on the 100. And through 4, beautifully done. Don't want to take the curb there on exit that will unsettle the car. Coming through 5 now. Second part of the staircase. And 6. All that exit curb that can really unsettle your car if you go too much over the road there as well. Short shoot up to the grassy chicane at 7 and 8. Oof.
Ozrob there just behind, as we had a quick look behind, very high on the curb there, and was lucky to get away with that. To come back down towards the kink on the back straight.
Kink at 10. Ooh, a lot of curb from the Volvo. He's actually cost himself quite a bit of time through there, and the car ahead's just pulling away slightly along this long run. This is Bartels Road?
Yes, from memory. Should be Bartels Road.
Breaking at 150 for the slowest part for the... No, it's not the slowest corner. The first hairpin. Beautifully done by both. Swing it right out to the right, back in, and now we're coming to Victoria Park. That curb's actually really deceptive. That corner is actually quite tricky to get done.
And especially after the big braking application, it means that everything's just a little more tense, a little more warm. We're just watching Ozrob on the nose, right down into the corner. And that is a lap from Hans. And he's, you can see the cog on the screen there. He's called for his pit, potentially just to set it up, or it might be in the next lap. But in the course of that, though, they've actually dropped... who was behind them?
Oh,
Brendan Ross.
Brendan Ross, he actually got stuck on a curb at the hairpin.
Okay, let's see if we can quickly catch what happened to Rossi. So yeah, there he is, stuck on the curb. And not sure...
How did he end up there?
Yeah, not sure how he ended up there. But he did
did
manage to get off with the help of Scott Morrill, so he's been booped in the rear.
Okay,
and he's
so...
pulled off to the side. Okie dokie.
Yeah, just having a look at Rossi now, see what he's done. So he's coming down the back straight, obviously. It might be a lag thing, because he's lagged all over the place and just sort of stopped.
Oh, how very peculiar.
Yeah, that was very bizarre. He's obviously got going now, so...
He did get a little bit of help. We'll call it a little bit of help from Scott Morrill there, who pushed him very hard off the curb.
Tony Murray was the firefighter, right?
Yes, he is.
Saving lives and always in one.
We're just back looking at the front of the field. Will Devonish is squared away at the moment. He's got a 2-second gap over Brenton Hobson, and then there is Scott Nolan in third place. They've dropped quite comprehensively Brock Harvey. He's down in fourth, about 3.5 seconds behind this group. So a little bit further back is Brock, not quite with the pace of the leaders, but he's got 6 seconds over Damien Rasmussen at the moment, who in turn has 7 seconds over Wayne Spencer. Now they've lost Hans, so Hans is in the pits. Hans is the first of our pit stoppers. We're just catching him on camera now. So that wasn't a bluff there as we saw the cog come up on his screen. He was actually setting up for the pit stop, and that's allowed Rob to jump onto the tail of Spencer here as we're watching from above through the S's. Just noticing that Spencer is getting a little bit more wheel spin out of the corners, a little bit more oversteer, especially in the S's. So that could be a signal that the HSV might be struggling on its tyres here as we approach 20 minutes into the race.
Hans coming out in 10th place, a decent amount of clear track ahead of him. Cam Rutledge, the next car ahead, a good 3 seconds up the road, so Hans will be pretty happy with that.
That's actually really, really nice for Hans to drop in at that position, because he's managed to stay ahead of Lime Mitch and only lose something in the realms of, well, what, 25-30 seconds to the cars that he was chasing. Let's have a quick look as it comes up on the screen. It's 27 seconds to Ozrob. Oh, as Lime Mitch goes around. Whereabouts was that?
Oh, that's on the back straight. No, it's not on the back straight. It's on the way up to the kink.
Yeah, so let's see if we can catch the replay of that. Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out the cameras.
Yep, okay, coming through just too much gas out of 9 and straight into the inside wall.
Yeah, so we just caught it.
Lick.
Yeah, just caught it while we were watching Hans go through that corner, and that was in the background. So not ideal for Lime Mitch there. He drops down to 12th with Rhodey now sitting in 11th position. So that's a pretty good return for him so far. And it looks like we might have further malarkey further back. Termo and Walshy getting into it. They managed to get through relatively unscathed. And Hans is back in the pits. Now what's happened here? What's happened to Hans?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Maybe he got a drive-through or something that we missed?
Nothing came up on my screen.
No, neither. Maybe he's gone through and forgotten to change tyres. Because that would
be a Hans thing.
That would explain why it was such a quick stop. It didn't really make sense to me how he managed to get through that quickly. So a bit of a misjudgment there for Hans. So he's going to drop down the field.
I was just going to mention Will Devonish just cut past Rhodey and Cracker.
That's Michael Woolston and Cracker.
Michael Woolston, sorry. So I thought he might have come into the pits to avoid them, but he got away with it as the Saudi Camel comes in behind him.
And now it'll be Harvey and Nolan who have to come through. And in fact, on that lap, Will Devonish set the fastest lap of the race while lapping cars. So pretty impressive run so far from Devonish. We've seen this before. We've seen that once he gets out in front, he can be a little unstoppable as he has just a little tweak of the brake into turn 4 there. I just saw on the screen a little bit of a yellow flag pop up. I'm trying to figure out where that came from, but it seems to have disappeared now.
While you look that up, Damien Rasmussen has come into the pits, first of our lead 5 to do that.
And then that moves Wayne Spencer up into 5th with Rob right behind him as they go again through the staircase. And Rob's trying to open out for a move here. As we jump on board the Nissan, you can see a big oversteer moment from Spencer going through turn 6 there. But he seems to have the power on exit. That HSV just able to wind into the rev range a little easier. But it's not looking all that comfortable for Spencer just at the moment.
Coming through into the kink now. If Ozrob's got a decent run out of the kink, this might be, if he can stay with it.
And you can see the skyline.
Just too far back this time around though.
Nah, here we go. Here's the Duke out for the dive. Comes to the inside. And he gets it done as we jump on with Wayne Spencer. And there's the move. So Ozrob up into 5th. Very well done from him. He's been fighting for those 2 positions for quite a while, and he's actually made it stuck now, made it stick on Wayne Spencer, who we saw had the cog in the windscreen. So he should be coming in this lap around. We'll see what he does.
He's pulled right to the inside of the track there, so he's coming in.
And well done for Wayne to get that pit entry nicely done. So it's Ozrob up into 5th. Where did Rasmussen pop out? There he is in 8th place, so just ahead of Cam Rutledge, in between a group of Sierras.
Expect to see the other Synergy cars coming pretty soon.
Let's see if we can find them. Peter Siraj also in the pits.
Yeah, there is, coming in from what, 6th place from the field, in the field even.
And we can just, as Will Devonish uses all the curb and then some. Whoa, almost spinning it out as it comes onto the back straight. You can just see in the back of shot there, it is Hans in the back of shot who's gone a lap down. But there's a little bit of congestion back there as the leaders try and make their way through traffic. Scott Nolan having to go through Dane Ricardo and Brenton Hobson. And we've got a yellow flag just up the road.
We have, who's at the Dale Smith flooring machine?
That is
in the runoff area.
Yep. Scott Murrell, who went around at the hairpin.
Hobbo's coming up now. I expect to see him go into the pits this time round. And there he goes.
Now,
much more aggressive finish than we've seen from other cars.
And Nolan stays out.
Yep.
So that'll give Nolan the chance to maybe do the overcut. As Brock Harvey just has a little bit of a moment trying to pass the 355 Nissan of Dane Ricardo.
Just flashing with lights.
Now, importantly, there was a gap of about 5 seconds between Devonish and Hobbo before the pit stop came around. So that's kind of shows you the benefit of being the first one through traffic, and also just the way that the Mercedes is able to manage its tyres. It's been much more even throughout the stint. Still setting very fast laps as Will Devonish as he comes through the fast S's, uses a lot of curve there.
Hobbo's just coming out of the pits well ahead of his teammate, Damien Rasmussen.
And he's the next car on track as well. So Hobbo back out in 5th place. That moves Ozrob up into 4th. And then there is Hobson coming through the S's now. We'll see if we can pick up Rasmussen in the background here. That's Mike Coulston, who's also had a pit stop.
I like the strategy from Will Devonish here. Just run as long as you can. Give yourself freshest tyres towards the end to defend off the guys behind. I don't think the overcuts are going to, or the undercuts really going to matter here. Especially seeing Scotty Nolan, his closest competitor, hasn't come into the pits yet either. I wonder if Scotty actually missed a trick there, not coming in the previous lap, as we see Will Devonish in now.
So Devo's in now. Okie dokie. Yeah. We'll see. Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost Mike Coulston there. You just see him in the garage as Devonish came through. So Nolan's in the pits as well. So this will be a bit of a heads-up battle in the pit lane between these two. Scott Murrell in as well, just behind. And it will be Brock Harvey who inherits the lead of the race. There we go. And then his closest company will be Ozrob, depending on whether or not Ozrob comes through the pits. So Ozrob stays out. So it'll be very close to see whether or not Devonish actually gets out ahead of Ozrob, as we have the camera there. And Ozrob might just get him here, which is going to be a little annoying for Devonish, because that means he'll have to deal with Ozrob, who blows through the first chicane without even trying to get through.
Hobbo has obliterated his teammate Nolan in the pits. He's now come out 3 corners ahead of him.
Yeah, so that's basically as you were for Nolan and Hobson. Now, the important thing is the gap between Hobson and Devonish. It's listed as 9 seconds on the timing screen. But
go by 5.
Yeah, so that'll come down when they hit the first sector mark.
Ooh, Devo two-wheeling it through the back chicane. To answer your question on Mike Coulston, looks like he just got a bit too much curve at the back chicane, or turn 9. And just put it in the inside wall, and that was enough for him. It could have also been leg assisted as well.
Yeah, fair enough. Unfortunate for the Saudi Camel. We do love having him around, so a shame that he wasn't able to complete the race this evening.
As we see, Lime Mitch coming in the pits, just being passed by Cam Rutledge, who's on his way out.
And we've got Brock Harvey now coming into the pit. So Brock is in the pits now, and then that'll be still, Ozrob and Will Devonish is going to be the key battle here.
Yep. We're not sure which order they're going to be in because Will Devonish is looking very aggressive coming through to the race course section.
Had a little look but didn't commit there, so we'll jump on board with Will and see how he goes trying to pass this Nissan as they both inherit the top 2 places from the pitting Brock Harvey. So down into turn 1 here, a lot of curb on the inside you can take there, but Ozrob goes wide again. That's probably another curb strike that he'll have to contend with as we break into turn 4. Remember, Ozrob on very, very worn tyres, and Will Devonish, on the contrary, using some fresh new boots as we come through turns 5 and 6. You got to say the Nissan looks very leggy at the moment, while Devonish has a little bit more underneath him. He's able to just turn the car in a lot earlier and pick up the throttle. It goes for an audacious dive, not quite room there as they head onto the quicker part of the circuit. Now this is going to be important for Will because this is going to be an advantage section for the Skyline. Or maybe not, as Ozrob runs very wide and gets an awful run. So this could be a chance for Will, and Ozrob goes extremely defensive straight away. But is the Mercedes going to have the legs?
Tries to squeeze the Merc on the outside on the run. And there's the lap traffic as well. Oh, what a... Oh.
That was very, very tight with Brian Walsh there, but Devonish has somehow managed to hit the brakes at the right point, go around the outside and take the lead back. So that's very important for him because not too far behind is Brenton Hobson. We just hold the camera here. We'll see Hobbo in the background. There he is. As we pick him up. And so another lap around for Ozrob though. So that's interesting. It's still managing to stay out on track on those very worn tyres.
That's an impressive. That move was very, for those of you who watched the IMSA race at Road America last weekend, remember the prototype who went with the Acura who dived down the inside between a lap car and his teammate? Or not the lap car, for the Mazdas? It's very reminiscent of that.
I still haven't seen that race yet, and it's on my list of things to do, so we'll make sure we don't spoil the result.
Ooh.
But that seemed like a very interesting race.
It's at Road America, it's never dull.
This is definitely true. So Ozrob will come back up at the top of the field because the leaders have traffic now in the form of Dane Liccardo, Cam Rutledge, and Brendan Ross. Liccardo finds his way off the circuit, and in fact that's Cam Rutledge and Brendan Ross just get out of the way of Devonish very nicely.
As Devonish gets out of his way of his right-hand side tyres over the curb there.
As does Hobbo in the background. Still got eyes on Ozrob going down the back straight. There's 3 cars in a row now just ahead of him. Oh, as Liccardo pitches towards the inside. I'm not sure if he made contact with the wall there, but it certainly was very close. And it looks like that's Brendan Ross who's gone off as well. So a bit of a mixed bag as the leaders come through the traffic there. And that's allowed Hobbo to really range up onto the back of Ozrob, coming through into the final sector, and Ozrob goes into the pits.
Yeah, now that's going to cleanse the field now. See where he comes out. We see a yellow flag in turn. Oh, the yellow flag's gone away now.
Wow. New fastest lap for Will Devonish, a 1:34.880. The first lap in the 34s that we've had this evening. Devonish is showing everyone a clean set of heels tonight as he's putting that Merc through its paces.
I'll see you wow and raise you a holy crap. Devonish just on it. He's making moves when it counts, especially when his competitors are being held up by crazy traffic.
Again, he's restored that 5-second lead that he had pre the pit stop sequence, and he's looking nigh on untouchable here at the moment. I think he just had enough to break the back of the HSVs so that they didn't really challenge him through the straight stuff, and he's able to just pull away through the twisty bits to just maintain his lead.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on Brock Harvey here. He seems to be hard charging. His 7/10 ahead of Scotty Nolan through the first sector this lap,
Whoa!
and he nearly rolled it.
We're going to have another look at that. We'll go on board with Brock. That one. There we go. So coming through to the run onto the back straight here. Hits the curb. Whoa!
What are you doing, Mr. Harvey? I'm trying to give you props and you just throw it in my face.
Crazy stuff there from Harvey. Managed to keep it on rooted to planet Earth that time around.
I suspect he might be in the pit soon for a change of underwear after that.
Just a Code Brown moment.
Yes.
Why don't we jump on board? Brock, are you in the booth with us at the moment? That might be a yes, but a muted yes. So we'll just let him do his business as we watch him go through the chicane. He said to us while we were sorting out the streaming issues that he was trying to get into the battle for pole. Apparently, he left 8/10 on the table, doing basically that on his fast lap, getting up on two wheels and losing time. So he could have realistically been in the mix for pole position, but that small mistake took him out of it. And he hasn't gone too far from his starting position. In fact, he hasn't left his starting position at this stage of the race.
To be fair, winning the cars ahead of Devonish and the Synergy Sim cars, holding your own, it's not too bad.
Yeah, and certainly compared to where he was in the championship, it's against the guys that he was racing against, he's certainly taking a lot of points away from them and putting it in his back pocket.
Mm-hmm. So with 14.5 minutes to go, it's hard to see Devonish. Oh, sorry to interrupt myself, as Brenton Hobson has to avoid a prone Cam Rutledge coming into the race course. That was very, very tight of him. But Devonish 7 seconds up the road now.
It looks like we've also just lost Cracker as well. So unfortunately, see another Sierra in the garage. Other DNS we've had so far, Brendan Ross and Mike Coulston. So unfortunate for those guys.
I'll see if I can get back onto a Cracker to see if I can suss out what happened to him.
Oh, as Tomo spins it in the background of turn 4. We'll catch him on this camera shot through Brendan Hobson. He's kind of stuck there now. Let's see if we can actually find Tomo and see. He's very much stuck at the moment.
Is he?
And he's done the flick spin, he's found a little bit of a spot, and he's managed to get back on track. So he's just ahead of Brian Walsh now. What we'll do is we try and find our race leader. There he is. Mm-hmm. We'll do our little bit where we just show the field coming through towards... catch everyone back up. This will be our sort of race recap. So there's Will Devonish coming into the hairpin.
You looking off at the hairpin?
Yep. So the next battle on track behind him is Rhodey, who is in 11th, with Brendan Hobson just behind. Rhodey does a good job getting out the way. There's Adam Kerrison, who's in a battle with Rhodey, and then that's Cam Rutledge and Manuel Santino. There is Scott Nolan in 3rd place, and Brock Harvey in 4th. Termo, as we mentioned, recovering to 14th after his spin. He's got Brian Walsh for company, and then there is Damien Rasmussen in 5th place currently, as Will Devonish sets another fastest lap, the madman that he is. Matt Cecil and Luke Joyner are in battle for 16th and 17th, and then that's Wayne Spencer, who's still in 6th and 7th, with Ozrob, who's just made a ill-fated move down the inside at the hairpin there. There's Scott Murrell, he's in 18th place, and then in the background that looks like Peter Suraj, who should be in 8th place in the Sierra.
Nice lonely bit of track to himself there. Then it's behind Peter Suraj, it's even more clear track, and we can see the looming Volvo box car in the distance. That must be Hans Brunswick and Knight. And there he goes, braking for the hairpin now. Just behind him, a few laps down, is Dane Liccardo, who's just going to suffer a drive-through penalty for track cuts, I imagine.
And
then
there is Line Mitch at the tail of the top 10.
Yep.
And in the background, you can just see the figure of Will Devonish, who now has a 10-second gap on the field as we jump on board with the current race leader and lap record, well, fastest lap holder. We're on board through what is on the modern circuit turn 11. He's just been nigh on untouchable, and we're right on board with for a lap with our leader.
Yep. That's his fastest lap. Well, 1:34.7 is half a second ahead of Brenton Hobson.
That's just outstanding stuff, really.
And
Difficult to understand.
Hobbo's 4/10 ahead of his teammate Scotty Nolan.
And just to really show how hard Will's pushing, the last lap around, His best laps are 134.773. Last lap around 134.798. So he's still absolutely on it as we see him drift style through turn 4. Now to turn 5, using second gear here. And then just missing the curve at turn 6 as well.
He's just braining them again. He's really got to grips with these cars.
It seems that, well, he said early on in the season that the Merc was going to be a bit of a sleeper. It wasn't going to have the pace at the first few rounds. Remember, we were at Simmons Plains and Calder Park, which were really just arenas for the Sierra to play in. But he said it would be a bit of a sleeper, and as the tracks have evolved and become a bit more cornering based, the Merc has just turned into an absolute world beater as we're coming down into the hairpin.
Very nice. Now ahead of him on track, lap down cars. Who's that ahead of him?
That's Dane Ricardo and then
Lime
Lime
Mitch.
Mitch. Yep, so that's 20th and 10th ahead of him respectively.
Tell you what, Rhodey in 11th. I know we like to whip him on him every now and then, but my God, this has been a good run from him.
Certainly has been, and we'll see if we can find him on track. Shouldn't be too far away, actually.
No, he's got Scotty Nolan behind him.
There we go. He's getting blue flags now. He actually is coming off a very decent result last night in the GT3 Sprint Series. A pair of 15th places, which might not sound like much, but it is his first points in the GT3 World Challenge. So congratulations to Rhodey. And by the way, if you did miss the GT3 Sprint Series last night at Suzuka, definitely give race 2 in particular a watch, because that was an absolutely crazy finish as we watch Rhodey just go another lap down to the third place man, Scott Nolan. On the note of Rhodey as well, while we've got him on stream, it was his birthday on Monday, so we'll wish Rhodey a very happy birthday. And at the moment, AMS Oz is giving him a fair few gifts. Well, maybe not gifts, but it's certainly turning on the works for him for his birthday.
Yeah, well, given that currently we're in stage 4,000 lockdown in here in Melbourne, he can't exactly go anywhere for his birthday, so.
So he can go to Adelaide and hopefully, potentially, maybe score a top 10.
I'm just wanting to draw your attention to 14th, 15th, and 16th. Luke Joyner, Brian Walsh, Matt Cecil are just putting their elbows out. We just saw them go too wide, bumping and barging 2 wheels through the back chicane. This is on for young and old.
So we're right on board with Luke Joyner. You can see Brian Walsh just ahead, coming onto the back chicane, and Matt Cecil very pixelated in the rear view mirror. Commodores for Walshy and Joyner, and Cecil in the Norton Hornet, the Nissan, come down the back straight. Walshy taking a little bit of a defensive line as they go through the hairpin. He's left himself a little vulnerable to the undercut there, but does a good job of getting the power down. As we've got 7 minutes left in this race. Ooh, stream died.
Stream died? Stream died.
Maybe not. Either way, we're still on board with Luke Joyner, and he's actually got a great run out of the final corner, and he's going to go past Brian Walsh to take that position.
Yeah, stream looks good on my end.
Okay, so maybe it's just a moral problem there, as actually Brian Walsh, just as we had him on screen, picked up a drive-through penalty for track limit violation. What we are going to do though is skip ahead to catch up with this battle between Wayne Spencer and Ozrob yet again. They've been going at it the entire second half of the race, basically.
Wow.
And they're just coming up onto the back of Manuel Santino, who steps out of the way.
I'm just investigating the stream to make sure it's not dead. That's okay. So these two have been at it pretty much all race.
Yeah, pretty much. Remember, we saw them just ahead of the field, ahead of the pit stops in a battle with Hans Brunswick as well. But Hans, unfortunately, made some sort of error with his pit stop and dropped down the order. as Ozrob had a little bit of a look into the hairpin, but didn't quite get it done.
Coming through now onto the race course. It seems like that the best chance of Ozrob will be into the turn 12 hairpin.
We're riding on board with Wayne Spencer from the roof cam, looking back at Ozrob as we go through the hairpin to start lap 28. We've just got 5 minutes left in the race, so we're looking at maybe 31 or 32 laps for this race. So not long left for Ozrob to make a move. Now remember, Ozrob took a much later pit stop as well, so he might have better tyres than the HSV, and he looks to make a move up the hill into turn 4, not quite that time around. Now, the staircase, you're probably not going to have an opportunity to get the move done. So we're just sitting the wheel tracks here.
The Wazza machine very wide over the curb at 6. Has missed the apex at 7 by a fair margin as well. It's going to give Ozrob the best chance he has down the back straight now.
And there is the fruit and veg markets that I was talking about so fondly before the race in the background that we've just gone through. And
Ozrob really early on the brakes there.
maybe he's trying to set Wayne up for the run down the back straight, but Wayne got a great run. This seems to have just a little bit better top speed as we approach VMAX on this circuit. Not quite close enough for a dive. Not quite. Maybe a little bit of Morse code on the rear bumper as well for Wayne Spencer. But for the moment, he holds on to 6th position and keeps the Nissan at bay. Now, the permanent racetrack should favour the HSV just a little more.
Let's see what through to this final corner. Ooh, that's
Very deep.
Very deep from Australian Robert. With 3.5 minutes to go, time's running out. He'll probably get, what, 3 more cracks at this?
Yeah, 3 or 4. I think the best spot, just from that brief look, is going to be either here into turn 4 or into the hairpin at...
He's going to try and make it stick at 4. Down the inside, gets it done.
Wow, gets it done. Very nicely done there. And can he hold on to it? So he's got the position for the moment. Not difficult to pass in here because of the tightness of the track. We're on board again with Ozrob, this time looking back at Spencer. To go through the fast S's. Again, Spencer misses that apex.
These tyres must be hurting his ears. As you see Ozrob, a little bit of wheel spin through there, but he's got the ponies at the moment.
This is the important part. Can Ozrob get a good run out of there? Not the greatest, but Spencer didn't quite get a good run himself. Their hold stations down the back straight here, and there's not going to be enough room for a dive. So Ozrob consolidates that position for the moment.
A little bit of a inside brake block up at the rear, and he's now just a little bit closer as they come on to...
We've lost Scott Morrow. We've lost... Oh, no, sorry. Scott. I thought that was Scott Nolan. I saw a Scott down the bottom of the field with the DNF next to it, and I freaked out for a second. So apologies to both Scott Nolan and Scott Morrow for that one. But it's okay. We still have our 3rd place man. And it's unfortunate that we've lost our fireman from the field. Sorry, everyone.
About to give everyone a heart attack to see Ozrob take a lot of curve through the set. Was it known as the centre chicane back in '85?
I don't think so. I think the reason it's known as the centre chicane was because the last year they used it was the year. Well, the last year for F1 was the year, of course, that Ayrton Senna passed away. So if you actually go to the centre chicane, there is a plaque with Ayrton Senna's handprints just on the inside where the tyre bundle would be, just behind that. And it's always a somber moment at the end of a race weekend to just go to step past there and have a quick look at that plaque. By the way, Ayrton Senna has tiny hands. I'm talking like midget fingers.
Well, he wasn't a big boy.
He wasn't, but I'm especially surprised at how small his hands are, as Lion Mitch gets a penalty from 10th place, and that's going to be for track limits. We have a quick look on the replay.
Oh yeah, he got it through turn 1 too, so yeah, you can guess what that was for.
Yeah, so we'll just catch the replay here. Yeah, definitely all 4 wheels over the curb. That was it for Lion Mitch. So he's going to be dropping out of 10th place, which means that Adam Kerrison is going to step into the top 10 potentially, because Rhodey has dropped to 14th, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm going to try and see if I can bring up that, because that just looked very unfortunate. I think he may have looped it down the back section. I'm just trying to see what he's done here.
So Nathan Higginson correcting me in the live chat, the year after he passed was the last year of the Adelaide Grand Prix. So that would make it 1995 that the Adelaide Grand Prix finished up in Adelaide, which sounds right-ish.
Yep. To answer your question, what happened to Rhodey? Last corner, bit too much of the right foot, and just looped it round.
That's unfortunate for Rodney, as Will Devonish comes around the final corner to start what will be the last lap of the race, with time expiring just as he hit the braking zone. So once again, this has been an absolutely stellar performance from the Devonoosh in the temp liveried Mercedes, which looks very, very, very white on my screen. A gap of about 14 seconds. So it's just been an absolutely staggering result for Will, and that's going to be one that extends his lead in the championship.
Just to start to finish, just a great drive.
Yeah,
Can't
and
say
there
too
was
much more than that.
Yeah, there was a brief lead from Hobbo, of course, to take the early race lead, but Devonish did manage to make the move back, as Brian Walsh tries to get in the way of the leader, almost intentionally there. Actually, I'm just going to skip back, because we'll go to the battle for third, because Scott Nolan has Brock Harvey for company in this very late stage. So we'll try and keep tabs on what's happening there as the leader goes around on his final lap.
Yeah, meanwhile, that battle between Ozrod and Woz is going to go Ozrod's way. He's broken the elastic, now 10 seconds ahead.
So Wazza might have made a mistake as well, as we come through to the final sector of the racetrack. Devonish, again, untouchable to go alongside his wins at Winton and at Pukekohe as well, perhaps? I'm trying to remember. It's been so long ago. But around the final corner is Will Devonish, and he will come across the line to win the ATCC Round 6 at Adelaide at the GP Circuit 1998. Congratulations, Will Devonish.
Great result from the Mercedes-Benz driver. Absolutely brained the field once again. Good battling with Hobbo when he needed to, but great result. 12 seconds ahead of Hobbo in second place. Oh, hang on, that battle for third. Brock Harvey closed right up, but he's going to be one lap too short, as Scotty Nolan will come across the line for third place. Brock Harvey in fourth. If he had one more lap, he might have got him.
It would have been very, very, very close. As we see Brian Walsh coming across the line now. The next car on track that we're waiting for will be Damien Rasmussen, who's just come out of the final corner.
And here he goes now. Good result from Synergy Sim Racing, as you'd expect.
Yep. Adam Kerrison is going to be the first car, or sorry, the last car in the top 10, and then it's Luke Joyner and Termo in a very willing battle. Termo seemed to get that just on the line. There is Rhodey coming across the line now to finish in 14th, and then Ozrob finishes in 6th. Behind him is Dane Liccardo in 19th place. Wayne Spencer coming across the line in 7th.
Now, coming across the line in 8th place will be Hans Brunswick, which is not the way they started that final lap.
No, okay. So there must have been a change in position between himself and Peter Siraj very late on.
Just put it up on replay. Coming into the turn 12 hairpin, Hans just powered straight past him.
Oh, well done. So Hans grabs 8th, Peter Siraj grabs 9th. And as we...
has Lion Mitch crossed the line to finish?
Yes, he has. He was a lap down on the field. So that is your finishes. Lion Mitch rounds out the top 10. Wait, no, but then he must not have served his penalty. Very peculiar. So we'll have to just double check on that.
Yeah, because he's just done a whole big old loop around the back section of the track. So I'm not sure. Oh, he's lagging anyway, so I don't know what's going on there with Mitchell. So that's the server
closed?
Yep.
So there we go. Will Devonish takes away another win and another Synergy Sim Racing double podium with Brenton Hobson and Scott Nolan in the mix. Oh god, okay, this is gonna go awfully. Goodbye. Gonna be in control?
Do the interviews with the actual assets on screen.
Fingers, arms, legs, toes, and eyes crossed.
Let me just.
Double podium with Brenton Hobson and Scott Nolan.
Did
that work?
I'm just listening to. It seems like it did work.
Oh, wow, beautiful, beautiful thing.
That's-
Somehow we did it, ladies and gentlemen. Somehow we did it.
All right. What a race! It wasn't action packed, but the action we did see was pretty fantastic.
There was that really, really cool battle pack in the early stages between Wayne Spencer, Oz Rob, Hans Brunswick, and Brendan Ross until, unfortunately, Hans and Ross encountered problems. But at the head of the field, it was really almost a one-man show tonight. Will Devonish, congratulations on taking another race victory this season. Just tell us the race from your perspective.
Yeah, probably the best start I've actually gotten in the series, but couldn't really capitalize on it. But yeah, besides from that, SSR guys were pretty gentle at the start and was able to get past them, and Hobbo stayed with me for a bit. But I think his tyres went off towards the end of the stints, and I was able to run away with it. Yeah, the second stint wasn't as good for myself, but besides from that, yeah, really easy. Well, not easy, but really good race.
Well, yeah, you say you ran away with it. The gap at the end of the race was in the realms of 13 seconds, 12.8 seconds. You really seem to have a number on the field, and as well, the only person to drop into the 34s throughout the race. You just had some otherworldly pace tonight.
Yeah, admittedly, I had very little practice for tonight. So I think it was during the race I was doing most of my practice. So towards the end of the stints, cars lightened up, tyres were still there, so I was able to crack out those times, which was good to see.
Yeah, a great result from you, and you extend your lead in the championship over over Scott Nolan at the moment, who I believe still maintains second place. Do you feel the weight of expectation being the one going up against the Synergy Sim Armada?
A little bit, and I'm not looking forward to the next few races. I knew the last 4 rounds were going to be good for this car. The next track I've never gone to, and the one after that I think is Hidden Valley, which the little Merc's going to be pretty slaughtered at. But yeah, we'll do what we can.
Awesome. Well, you've made the most of the advantage of the Merc for now. Congratulations on taking another race win, Will Devonish.
Thank you.
Second place tonight was Brenton Hobson. Brenton had the better run of the first few laps, but once Will got past you, it was difficult to keep on his tail. Still a very good result with second place tonight. You must be happy with that.
Oh yeah, I'm much happier with tonight than I was with the last round, where even though I won, it was a good drive last round, but I didn't feel like I earned the position. But tonight, I couldn't have gone any quicker tonight. That was as good as I had. Made very few mistakes, as consistent as I could be, and I'm always happy when I have a race that I'm happy with the drive. So I'm disappointed, obviously, not to win, but then yeah, happy with the drive.
Yeah, you guys seem to have a lot of one lap pace in the HSVs, but not quite the tyre longevity of the smaller, more nimble cars. With Lakeside and Hidden Valley coming up, are you looking to maybe get a few more good results under your belt in tracks that might suit your car a bit better?
I don't know how it's going to stack up, to be honest. We'll see. We're pretty bad under brakes, I think, is where we struggle, and tyre life, like you say, it just murders us. So I mean, Hidden Valley's got a long straight on it, which we might have some pace over the Merc, but then the Sierras will come back into their own there. It'll be interesting to see. I don't really know. I mean, Will was just murdering me under brakes at the start of that race. I lobbed one on him at the start because I sputtered it off the line and barely managed to pull it up and get through. But he was so much better under brakes at the end of the straight, and it was pretty hard to defend. So I don't know how that will stack up against the other guys. Well, I don't know how we'll stack up against the other guys at some of the other tracks. We're sort of reasonable in a few spots. Like the car's okay in spots, but we couldn't take the curves like Will tonight, and we couldn't stop like him. And I think we got him pegged a little bit for straight line pace, but our tyre wear kills us as well across the run. So he seemed to be getting quicker and quicker and quicker, which I can't I can't see that in our car at all.
Oh, it baffles the brain. Regardless, though, a good result for you tonight for the championship. You close in a little bit on your teammate. Is there a bit of an inter-team rivalry between the two of you at the moment?
Nah. No, we're not in team up and try and beat everyone else mode. Like, we just race each other as normal, and we're obviously going to help each other if we can. If the position comes up for us to help each other, we're not going to hurt. Like last week, he was behind me and played rear gunner for me. So track position probably determines that still at this stage. No one's a winner in the championship between us, so no one sort of gets primary team allocation as far as no multi 21 or anything like that as far as that goes. But
yet
we're off the track or anything, we'll definitely try and look out for each other where we can and work together as much as we can. But no, there's no clear winner in the points between us at this stage. I still think Scott's got the wood on me, but still a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way to go. Halfway through the championship. Congratulations on your second place tonight, Brenton Hobson.
Thank you.
And third place tonight is the Synergy Sim Racing teammate, Scott Nolan. A decent result for you. Another podium finish, importantly. Not quite the pace of the leaders, but still a very respectable result for you tonight.
Yeah, cheers. I did no laps. We've had a pretty busy schedule over at SSR. We've had some big endurance races with the Supercar Online series and that. So and we've had a couple of personal milestones this week, family-wise. So my wife turned 30 last week, and today we celebrate our third wedding anniversary. So
congratulations!
Pretty good to have the dinner with the wife, and then say see you later. I've got to go race. So I didn't do any prep at all. Like, not that we do a lot, but I didn't do any. So to come away with third is pretty good. I was pretty much just fat arming it the last half of that race, and thought I'd give Brock a little carrot there to try and catch me. In saying that, we didn't have a lot left, but I was sort of not pushing as hard, knowing that the tyres could go off the cliff there at the end. So I let him come back, and then I sort of coughed it at the end to see if he sort of thought I ran out of fuel, just to sort of spice it up for him. He's a good bloke, and he's done really well. He's got some new gear and some new talent, so good to see him at the end as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. A good result for you in terms of the championship as well. Not letting your rivals get too far away. You've just sent me the updated points, and there is an 8-point gap between all of you, actually. 8 points ahead and 8 points behind. Do you start to, as we come to a bit more of the tracks that might suit the HSV, do you start to see opportunities to capitalize on pace, or is it just take every race as it comes at the moment?
Take it as it comes, last round was a bit of a boil over and stuff. So, I've had to sort of reevaluate how I think about things now, and I'm just sort of taking it as it comes. And man, if the Merc keeps on the black stuff, it'll probably win the thing, and cool, that's fine. We'll just do the best we can every week and turn up and see if we can keep on the good side of the admins and the stewards.
Just remind me, have you finished off the podium yet this season?
Yeah, I had a P6 in round 3 at Winton.
At Winton, okay, that was it. So still very consistent results from you, Scott. Very consistent across the board for my top 3. Congratulations on your third place finish tonight.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. So again, the same podium as what we had last week. Those guys are really stretching away at the top of the field, but it's still close between the three of them. As I mentioned, 8 points from Will to Nolan and 8 points from Nolan to Hobbo. So as the characteristics of the tracks change in the second half of the season, we might see the characteristics of the top of the championship change as well.
Yes. And the second half of the season kicks off in 2 weeks' time at Lakeside Park, which is the track I know very little about. But
I know it's tiny and it's a bull ring and it looks sick, and I wish VA Supercars still went there, because some of the stuff I've seen from like the very early Supercars days around that track looks terrifying, and I love it.
Yes, it looks incredibly fast and flowing, which should suit the bigger horsepower cars. and it might be a chance for them to fight back against the Mercedes. So I look forward to that on the 26th of August.
Yes.
But anything else you want to say about tonight before we sign off for this evening? Sorry about the streaming issues, guys. And
yeah, I was about to say, for everyone who stuck with us with the stream tonight, thank you very much. I know that things didn't exactly go to plan and we had to flip and flop halfway through. But thank you for sticking with us. I hope you're enjoying the broadcasts and the coverage. And thank you very much to Chris for doing all the good work. And I just kind of stepped in for tonight. Thank you for Nether for doing all the graphics. And yeah, everyone involved. And yeah, thank you very much for sticking with us. We really, really appreciate it.
We do. And I think it just shows that we're actually somewhat competent at doing this.
No, that's a lie.
We'll
if
see.
anything tonight shows the exact opposite of how competent we are.
First, got to persevere.
This is true.
To everyone in Melbourne, stay safe. To everyone else around the country, enjoy your freedom. And if there's anyone in New Zealand watching, take care while you're in the next few days of lockdown as well. Come back in a couple of weeks' time for Lakeside Park on the 26th of August. But for now, I'm Chris Riddell. That's Michael Zalavari. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.